Hi everybody.
Hi.
So, day 28, Genesis chapter 28 we're on.
Mm-hmm.
And
We are.
very much enjoyed our reading this morning.
Yes, we did.
Ugh.
There was a lot going on with Isaac. So you were saying that Isaac lived another 40 years after he blessed Jacob, eh?
Well, it says in the Amplified he lived another 43 years.
43 years?
Yeah, 43 or 47 years. But Isaac says to Jacob to go to the land of Rebekah's Haran,
Panorama.
Panorama, to marry a daughter of
Mesopotamia.
Laban. And so Jacob goes. Interesting little a side note talking about how Esau, he overhears this about and like realizing that Isaac is not happy with the wives that he took, and so he ends up marrying Ishmael's daughter, who
Granddaughter.
Ishmael,
Yeah.
and becomes his wife in the third place. And so on the way to Padanram, he has a sleep. Has a dream, and he sees a ladder on top of the earth with angels ascending, descending, and the Lord on top of the earth, around him and beside him. And what else? Oh my gosh, you're going to have to refer to the notes in that. And him waking and saying how great is this place, and that how great is this place, and he sets the stone that was his pillow as a consecration, as an altar of consecration, olive oil on top of the stone, and he calls it Bethel, the house of God. Yeah.
He says, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. I will give to you and to your descendants the land of promise on which you are lying. Your descendants shall be as countless as the dust of the earth.
Yeah.
And you shall spread abroad to the west and east and north and the south. That was really significant for, each time God speaks to the different line of Abraham, there's just all this significance. He says different things to Abraham, will say different to Isaac, and then he'll do something key with Jacob. So it was a really another highlight of how God spoke to the sons, the grandson, and then the son Jacob.
Yes.
And about.
Hi, Mel.
Hello, Melody.
Melody. Whakarawalahi atu. And also, it's interesting in this chapter where Jacob makes an oath saying that if the Lord blesses him, clothes him, feeds him, and returns him to the land of his dad in safety, that he will be his God.
Yeah.
It's interesting, that, huh?
Yeah. And each had their different, his was I don't know, why would you use a rock as a pillow? That to me was must have been a good pillow. And then he anointed the pillow, the rock.
The stone.
The stone as a place of consecration and remembrance of what he had seen. And so I'm thinking that Abraham would have passed down that from each generation down to Isaac and then down to Jacob, what God had spoken. And that's what we should be doing, It's like speaking of God's, promises in the Word.
Because in the last few chapters, many times talking and repeating the promise of God, the covenant between Abraham and God, and how through him all the families of the world will be blessed. and repeating that promise with each of the generations so far. So Abraham to Isaac, Isaac to Jacob, and for each man, the Lord appeared and repeated that promise or that covenant with Abraham, that your seed will, will be as the stars in the sky, or as the number of sand or dust, and that. If you are able to picture or count, that's how many your descendants will be. Bringing that affirmation and confirmation of his covenant with each of the successive generations, which is awesome.
And this time there wasn't a gifts to take to wherever he was going, whereas in the previous one there were gifts.
Nice.
Cattle and sheep and
servants.
Yeah. He just had to go on his own, and just a different blessing that he went. Now, he sowed in that land during a famine.
Yeah.
So he had
reaped 100-fold harvest.
So, but this time he didn't get to take. Well, it doesn't say that he took a lot with him. So I thought that was really key as you go through seasons.
Yeah.
But definitely stood out for me was about Isaac saying, "Don't marry someone from this land," and yet God had given that land as a promise. That was really interesting that they couldn't. He wouldn't. I guess through the generations, God keeps saying, always go back to wherever their other line is for a wife there, somewhere else.
It's interesting because it makes me think about, for myself being first generation New Zealand born Samoan or Pacific, back in the 70s, 80s, predominantly children would be full or be full Samoan, full Niuean, full Cook Island, Tongan, etc. But now we have so many beautiful mixes. We look at our children who are proud Samoan, Niuean, Māori heritage, and then of course with Berta having done her DNA 2 years ago, the many wonderful mixes.
Little mixes in there.
Yes, Europe.
Yeah. That was very significant for me, like learning about Abraham and the promise he was given, and then being able to hand that knowledge down, like how we have to hand that knowledge down to our children about the importance of being in your word. Because, we're finding every time we read together, there's power in it.
Yeah.
Especially with praying together afterwards. What are we praying? We're praying the blessing of God be upon our children.
Yes.
That they would have a relationship with God, and that they would seek and know who He is, and have that intimacy with Him. And a lot of it is playing our part as parents.
Actually
Reading and praying together. Because, like I said to Brian, it's first time we've ever done something like this. And then, as you go, Cuz, it's my book. It's Sweet Honey from the Rock. You can get an Aussie on Amazon for cheaper. I have to buy them in. Yeah. Anyway, it's got on there practice. So the acronym practice is for prayer, reading, action your goals, what's your cash flow like, cash in and out, take time to do deep breathing, intake, water and food planning, conversations heart to heart. So very important to have 5 minutes conversation heart to heart with people you love.
And we encourage,
and exercise and workout.
And encouraging from day one that you do it as a couple. And I'm finding for myself, it really is taking our marriage to another level. Hi, Lorraine. And just thinking about our children, what we try and model as parents, that ultimately is, how you hear a lot about how kids almost live through their parents' faith, but at some point in
find
time,
faith for
yes,
themselves,
they've got to find faith. They've got to find God for themselves. And as parents, we do the best that we can to role model that, but continue to lift them up in prayer and pray, declare, affirm, and encourage in the way of seeking God for themselves.
Yeah, and for me, I don't want our kids to be reliant on a system. I want them to have the intimacy with the Lord just between them and Him. If that means, church is part of that, I don't know, part of the going to a church, I'd rather them learn about intimacy with the Lord first. And if He leads them to find a church or find people with like-minded values, then yeah, it's like for me, we don't go to church, we do church at home. And that's another thing about Jacob, I think it was Isaac. He talked about how he prophesied over Esau. So he could operate as a fivefold ministry pretty much, because he that's one of the things I'm learning, is that each son operated to be the ecclesia. They taught their kids well and handed that information down really well. And those key things that we should be doing with our,
But
our
also
prayer.
or showing how God can work through. Nobody's perfect, and you see the example that sticks out time and
There's a bit
again
of
about,
lying.
hey, talking to your wives and saying, hey, you're beautiful, but when we go here, just say that you're my sister, because I don't want to get killed in that, only to be undone. Or where God reveals to, say, like Pharaoh or King Abimelech as examples, and then them coming back and saying, hey, why didn't you tell me she was your wife instead of my... You could have made us do something really bad, and the guilt of God, and da-da-da. And they go, wow, I thought you were going to kill me. And it's like, And interesting to read in previous chapters how they'll get sent away, but they get sent away, but they end up taking everything with them, and how because of, say, like Sarai, or because of Rebecca, that they are gifted, the husbands, they receive gifts, and then when they're commanded to go or to leave that land, they take everything with them, and so they leave with increase.
Yeah.
In spite of
with
operating out
King
of their
Abimelech's-
flesh.
Yeah, and the covenants that were formed between King Abimelech with Abraham and then Abimelech of Isaac's time. There's just so many different things that happen.
Gold.
Yeah.
So we had a good day today. We spent spent some quality time with the kids. We went to Mangere Bridge and we walked the dogs, and then we had a little feed at Lucky Cafe, one of our regular cafes. So good just to make time to spend
and even
time.
Though we woke up late. I had
Yeah.
woke up late.
Yeah.
Had a sleep in. The day just went, and then we come home for a sleep. We had a nanny nap.
I know. Yeah.
I think I needed it.
I needed it more.
Yeah,
But
true. Because you didn't have a good sleep. I had a sick child.
yeah,
next to me.
somebody, I'm not going to say who, because they're actually in the room with us right now. I went to go and sleep in my bed, but my sick child was there, and I thought, well, I'll do something as the dad of the household. I'll go sleep in another bed and have a real bad sleep. So that... Well, yeah.
Wasn't that bad?
That waits to be
It
seen.
was bad.
Thank you.
It's a
Thank
thin
you, Glory.
mattress like that
Thank
thin.
you, Glory. Dishes are waiting. Thank you.
What's the time?
It's 8 o'clock.
8:02.
So we had a great day, and we've had a few weather warnings here in Aotearoa, and another one today about the rain.
Really?
But as my
annoying.
wife always says, hey, even though forecasters will say one thing, doesn't stop us from declaring over the atmosphere.
That's it. We don't have
Rain, go away in
to
Jesus'
take
name.
what the news reports. Of course, they want to, give us the most negative weather warning ever. But we, as people of God, should be
People of faith.
saying to the weather,
Speaking in faith.
yes,
Declaring.
just like how Jesus did with the weather. Just stop already.
Because we are made in the image of God.
Yeah, and I find that these weather warnings,
Interesting there.
if it's ever in alignment with kill, steal, and destroy, John 10:10, then we don't have to agree with that. We are the counterculture of that. It's
Wow.
working in kingdom rather than working in. Yeah, we're part of. We've got a different passport. We're from the kingdom of heaven, so
Okay.
we bring heaven to earth.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
us tonight.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you guys for
And
watching.
once we get 100 followers, we're
Yes.
sitting at 70.
Now, get Joe and all your kids to follow, please. Get all your kids, Lorraine and family, get them all to follow and like, because then
My kids are like, I've already
once
myself.
we hit 100 followers, then we can go live on our page, the
and you know,
Sweet
the
Honey from the
joys
Rock
of
page.
doing live is so different from
sorry.
just doing a recording, eh? We did recording, it's like...
They're still live, it's just that it's
just
posted
not
up.
the same. It's not the same, it's not
Okay.
live. Yeah. Anyway, good night.
Good night, bless you guys.
Bless you.
And go out and change the world.